we're going to take a dive. We're going to take a manly swan dive. Oh, and now you're pausing like, oh, let me see the top of your head. I want to see how much thinning as you do that symbolic swan dive. I want to look in the comments is all I'm trying to say. This is a video about comments. I don't have anything in between my teeth, do I? I had my vegan smoothie and it's got chia seeds and blueberries and it's so easy. It looks like I'm using tobacco, which I'm not. Maxwell Smart, our great friend Maxwell Smart, commented on a video I made called Age 20, Norwood 2, too soon for Rogaine, wrong, head shape to shave it off. I like what happened here. Here's what Max said, quote, Nick, I have a suggestion for a video topic for you, acceptancy. Be who you are, not who you think you want to be. Why is accepting hair loss today such an issue? Max. Now I did end there because then we got a follow-up from another great friend named Andrew Kelly who is so intelligent. I mean, seriously, I can tell this is an intelligent guy. He says, quote, saying to Max, I think you recommended a perfect video series topic and one I would like Nick to perhaps foster an organic, evolving, multifaceted discussion with us. Overall, today's zeitgeist is the perfect context for such context-based subject matter. In theory, I think it can still include hair loss as a primary talking point, but the wider applications could attract newcomers and negate some criticisms levied against him for the narrow scope of the channel's content. That's good. And then there was another comment back where Max says, Andrew Kelly, thank you. It is funny. Being a barber today, we have guests of all ages in our chairs, from the age where kids today make their own decision based on how they want to get their hair cut to those in their mid-40s. They are more apt to pull out their phones and ask for a cut like that. Before the Generation S smartphone, I can only remember the odd occurrence when someone brought a picture or showed us something from a magazine or a hairstyle book hidden at the bottom of the magazines. Of course, we were asked for advice and it was given. Most men found their style and stuck with it, adapting as they got older. Most men weren't caught up in their looks like today. It has become a facet of Generation S culture. There is a flood of visual stimuli, am I saying that right? That seem to influence both men and women more so than ever before. We have become an impersonal thumbs up or thumbs down society, and I think that this is one main cause of why we strive to be someone we are not. It is like the hardcore quote version of Keeping Up with the Joneses, end quote. I love it. We've got a lot to unpack there. And even then, just in reading that, Max had, he quoted something that I said on my newest channel, which is Headline News Hash, that's the name of it, in which I was talking about one of the founders of Facebook, former executives of Facebook, has said the same thing. We're dumbing down society to just a thumbs up, thumbs down, I like you kind of thing based on Facebook, and it's destroying culture, which I completely agree. If you want to check that out, just Google my new channel, Headline News Hash. That's what it is. And I just take headlines that I see on my phone and I just give my take on it in 5 minutes or less. All right, a lot to unpack here. Let's go back to the beginning where Max says that why don't I just do a video talking about how accepting yourself, acceptance, be who you are, not who you think you want to be, which goes in line with what I've talked about before, how we have this perception of what we like, what we look like and who we are and why people like us. A perception of that, which may be based in fantasy, and it may be based on a microscope as compared to the actual abstract kaleidoscope that people actually see us. They see, you ever seen you have. I don't care what religion or what not religion you are. You know what I'm talking about if I say a stained glass window, like in a church window, right? And opaque. You look through it, you don't really see the details, you just kind of get a general idea of it. You can compare it from one thing to another, but ultimately you're not seeing details. Whereas you yourself, you see all the details through that microscope. And that's the reality. The reality is you judge yourself through a microscope, everyone else judges you through some kind of stained glass window or a fogged up window, whatever it is. That's reality. Most people can't accept that. But the concept of being who you are, not who you think you want to be. And going into what Max and Andrew had also talked about, that we are now more than ever as a society judging ourselves not only through that microscope, but comparing that to what we see in social media. And I've said from the very beginning, there's so much more pressure on men as far as hair goes, because now there's so many options to do something about it. Whether you want to sprinkle in some Go Fiber, which I've mentioned on this channel before, you know, whether you want to go to extremes and get a hair transplant or take procedure. There's options now, which therefore reinforces the anxieties that people have. And I've mentioned before, if you're Asian descent, you're most likely to not be able to grow much body hair or a beard, but you're more likely to keep your hair throughout, you know, middle age. You could be 55 and still have as much hair as I have if you're Asian. However, if you are Asian and you are one of the ones who is losing their hair at a young age, then there's that much more pressure on you. And I think that that parallels to what we're seeing because of social media, because we see everything that's going on. It's not just Hollywood, it's social media as well. So it's difficult. It's difficult to accept who you are. It's difficult to say, Nick, I understand what you say about DNA, that it's either in your DNA to go bald or not. It's either in your DNA that you are going to be Norwood 3 or beyond by your 35th birthday, which means for the rest of your life you will be balding, or that you'll still be Norwood 2 by your 35th birthday, which means you get to keep most of your hair most of your life. And a lot of people have trouble accepting that as reality. I don't. I accept that as reality. And here's what it comes down to. I've always, you know, the common theme, it always comes down to confidence, right? But here's the thing. And I quit scrolling Facebook a year ago. But imagine, here's most people. Here's their life. They're scrolling Facebook. Okay? I don't scroll Facebook. I post on there, but I don't look at other people, and that makes me a hypocrite, right? Because I'm a confident person. If a confident person doesn't need to say, what are they doing? What do they look like? What are they doing? I don't care what they're doing. And granted, I'm a hypocrite because I post what I'm doing, but it helps me as a business, as a blogger and a vlogger to do that. If you're confident in who you are, you're not looking at everyone else. It's one thing to get a healthy dose of, hey, what's the trend right now? What would make me the most handsome version I could be of myself without taking it to extremes? But ultimately, yes, it comes down to acceptance. It comes down to not comparing ourselves. But it's so hard not to do that you have to have someone like me telling you every day how petty and pathetic that is that we do that. You need someone to negate the hair loss bully in the mirror. You need someone to negotiate the fact that you're doing this all day long. It is about acceptance. It is about confidence. And it's easier said than done, which is why people watch my channel.